Hello, everyone. It's time for a Thamasa review. Okay, so where do I even start? First of all, the characters are not in order of ratings or anything. I'm not going to rate them because, as it is right now, really with the espers and everything, I think everybody's kind of on even playing field, like similar to, vanilla and stuff. Plus, I haven't really checked out any new rages that GAW got or anything, so I can't, actually give honest opinions about every single character as I would like to, right? But, so instead, I'm going to talk about the edition. So far, man, I gotta be real with you, I didn't think, okay, full disclosure, I didn't think I was gonna enjoy this as much as I have, to be honest with you, because, as I said, I knew going in that I already had, like, bad experiences with certain ROM hacks of my favorite old games, and changing a lot of things, and just my nostalgia for my old games is very strong. And my patience for games that change too much is very brittle. So I didn't expect to have so much fun with it, but holy crap, dude. This game is fun as hell. It is just straight up Final Fantasy VI, but with number one, extra content, of course, and apparently there's a mountain of it that I need to do before the World of Ruin. Thanks to everybody who were giving me hints about, hey, you need to go and make sure that you do all this stuff. And as I said in those comments, I was planning on doing a big sweep of the World of Balance, talking to like everybody and making sure I got everything before moving on. And thanks to everybody who is giving me hints and stuff without spoiling anything. I really thank you for that, because I have been having so much fun just getting surprised by, like, the bosses I'm fighting. Like, we just fought Mom Bomb, dude. That was awesome. I got to see a Final Fantasy IV boss, which is my favorite Final Fantasy, in Final Fantasy VI, which is my second favorite Final Fantasy. So, dream come true, right? But as far as the game goes, like, let me just start with the difficulty, okay? This is probably my favorite thing about this hack. So many ROM hacks, and there's so many of them that I have avoided that are so named, right? They're just difficulty hacks, right? And what they do is they just make the game harder. Not harder in, fun and interesting ways. They're just like, okay, well, we're gonna nerf this, it's not gonna be as good. We're gonna make this boss do more damage and stuff like that. This game has not done that in that way. It is a difficulty slight spike. It's not ridiculous, at least not yet, right? Of course, I imagine that World of Ruin is going to be very different, but still, if it goes on the continuum that it has been, it's not incredibly hard. They've just thrown monkey wrenches at you, right? And it's pretty cool. So, number one, probably, if I had to pick one, honestly, my favorite boss so far has been Kefka at Narsh. Despite the musical problems that we had, the audio problems, that fight was so inventive and so Kefka. Just, oh my god. The fact that he is using X magic, right? So all those cells is there. See, that's the thing. In the vanilla game, you made Kefka pretty much trivial by having cells on the team that fights him, because she can just runic everything he does. Now, he does 2 spells, laughs at you right before he casts both of them. That was a really cool touch. And she can only runic one of them, right? Also, the absolute, like, genius of having Kefka and Cyan have words before the battle, and then when Cyan hits Kefka, like, recognizing that he's the only survivor of Doma, and then casting Bio on him, which is poison, which is what he did to the Dominions, or whatever you want to call them, the Domans. That's so cool. Like, just you can tell the love for the original game in this hack. That's something that you cannot deny. That whoever put this hack together really, really loves the original game and really has a heart for pretty much every Final Fantasy too. You know, the different music that plays, some of the enemies from other Final Fantasies showing up as random encounters and as bosses, and just the level of detail to, you know, making little hints at the lore and everything was cool. Following that line of thinking as far as lore goes, new lore for Final Fantasy VI that's really cool that they put in. Frickin' Gilgamesh. When you fight him, period. When you fight Gilgamesh, it's like, oh, damn it, here he is again. You know, it's definitely Gilgamesh, right? That's how we all remember him in 5. But then fighting him and Enkidu in the sealed cave. Of course, that fight was rough. I love the fact that the trick to winning that fight was using Esper power. Let's go. Like, please give us more reasons to use Espers, because they were very, very rarely used in FF6. You basically just wanted them for the spells. I hardly ever used the actual Esper spell in vanilla. Now, you gotta use your utility ones. You gotta use, like, I'm using Shiva more than I have ever used Shiva in my entire life of playing this game. Especially in the Burning House. But, talking about lore, that's where I was getting. Gilgamesh recognizing Terra, because the last place you fought Gilgamesh was in Zozo, and Terra collapsed in Zozo, and Ramu hired Gilgamesh to guard Terra in the skyscraper, and he was guarding her from us, didn't know we were there to help him, and then he realizes it in the sealed cave, and is like, oh, you're her friends. Sorry. I'm gonna go. That was so cool, man. Just like the little interactions. And I have a history with this lore pretty heavily, because I made a long time ago, I've mentioned this in one of my Beyond Chaos videos, I think, that when I used to use RPG Maker, I made a fan game for Final Fantasy VI myself called Magitech Unit 31, which was kind of like a prequel to FF6, but it also went into the story of FF6, but in the background. Like, it was struggling, you know, soldiers in a Magitech unit for the Empire. The main character fell in love with Terra while she was sleeping in the slave crown room. He kept doubting Gestall's methods, and he would go after every mission and talk to her while she was sleeping. Like, not actually talk to her, because she wasn't talking back. She was out. But eventually, you know, she wakes up. She has no idea who he is because Kefka wipes her memory, right? But she did remember who he was when she first woke up. Like, she was there listening to everything he told her, even though she was... whatever. This is a fan fiction, fan game thing I had. And I covered the Zozo thing. Like, after the Magitech unit, like, secedes from the Empire and tries to fight back against them, their hideout is in Zozo for a moment, and Terra collapses there, and the guy who always talked to her in that room finds her, saves her, puts her in the bed, and it's like a nice parallel to how it was before. Now she's sleeping again. She's this creature that doesn't know he's there, and he's in the same position, and he has to leave because the returners are heading there, and they need to get the hell out of there. It was... So, I have a very deep love for the lore of Final Fantasy VI, and that was a rant, and I'm sorry, but I wish I could have made that game a reality, because it was really, really cool and really fun. There was like a Magitech ship and everything. Whatever. Another video sometime I'll rant about that more. But yeah, you can definitely tell they put a lot of love into the lore in this hack. Number one way that you can tell that they love this game: Kefka's lines are some of the coolest lines I've ever heard in a video game in this hack. He already had great lines, memorable ass lines in the original game. Welcome to my barbecue, son of a submariner. Name it. You know, you sound like a self-help, pages out of a self-help booklet. Kefka is the greatest troll in Final Fantasy history. Well, Doomgaze. No, Kefka still wins. Okay, Doomgaze is my friend. Kefka has always been like the perfect villain to me. He's been my favorite video game villain since I ever saw him, and still is my favorite one. And the fact they put so much love into giving him these awesome lines. This little town has too much boring and not enough burning. That line was sick. And every line he said so far has been great, even the ones that were changed a little. So good on the translator for making those so badass. Alright, so let's keep talking about the rest of the game here. So Seraphim being a boss that I plan to beat before the World of Ruin because I'm a crazy person. She definitely seems hard to beat. I like the fact that she's a boss all of a sudden. That's pretty cool. Seraphim is actually a really good Esper from what I remember. A lot of healing spells and stuff that you learn from her. So that's going to be interesting to slam my face against, because I'm going to be doing it, trying to figure out how to beat her. But yeah, just the little addition of her being a boss that you have to beat in order to get her powers. That's awesome. It's very reminiscent of FF4 as well, where you have to fight, you know, Ashura and Leviathan and Bahamut and stuff. So, and then we come to the conundrum of the missing piece of magicite, right? So I've been told again in the comments that there is a side quest in Narsh that I have to go and check out. I have no idea what it entails. I just know I need to talk to Arvis and Bannon, right? But I don't know what that magicite could be. We were missing Carbuncle, right? And Bismarck. There was no Carbuncle, there was no Bismarck. I'm hoping that Bismarck was replaced by Leviathan, because I like Leviathan more. We don't need the big whale. We got a whale in Beyond Chaos. We don't need him in this hack, because the Leviathan deserves to be in this hack. And it also seems as though they're putting new Espers in. Zoneseek is now Poo-Poo, which is weird, but it does the same thing as Zoneseek. Golem is actually the Golem from FF5, who you saved from the zombie dragon and the undead T-Rex or whatever. Another reason not to trust dinosaurs, by the way. So that's cool. And the liberties they're taking are not as annoying as they first were, right? Like those first couple of episodes where I was like, man, you're changing so much. Now it's kind of like, I want to see what else they changed. They hooked me. They did a good job. As far as the characters go, we can talk about that. The sprite work's great. Again, the Yoshitaka Amano artwork is cool. It's so classic Final Fantasy, and the fact that they tried to make the characters as close to that as possible is pretty cool too. It's yet to be seen what characters are going to bust out and be really good. Again, I haven't checked Gau's New Rages. We are going to be in the World of Balance for a little longer than usual, though, because of all these extra side quests. I am definitely going to sweep everything and make sure that I get everything I can before I move on. I definitely want to go back to the beginner house, because I'm sure I got an achievement, because South Figaro was freed from the Empire, and that was one of the achievements. That's another thing, the beginner house being really cool, and having all of those extra things that you can get. Being able to check out the items, like the rare items and stuff, really neat. I'm excited to get those extra costumes, the extra outfits for the characters, and see what they do. That's going to be cool too. So what else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, another boss, just because we just did it. Mom Bomb was a cool fight. Let's just be real. That's what I mean about the difficulty being done in interesting ways. That's the perfect example, is the burning house just now, right? So we didn't just fight balloons, we fought bombs, balloons, and grenades. Grenades had a shit ton of HP. They could all explode. They had Heat Rush as a counter, which berserks you. Doesn't do damage, but it berserks you. So you have to think about equipping relics and things that guard against berserk. And, you know, getting through the fight with the Flame Eater, well, Mom Bomb, you had to deal with the fact that 6 of them were going to appear after she was done exploding. That was neat. Had to make sure I stayed at full HP for when the explosion happened. Pretty cool to have to time that. And number 2, Morph felt almost required. Not just useful, really useful. Like, if I hadn't morphed Terra, I think I would have had a lot more trouble. And in the vanilla game, morph is very situational and doesn't get used that much because Terra's good enough on her own, really. It's just overkill when you morph her. You know, it's kind of like a do-nothing skill, right? Not the case now. Seems like everybody's skills are pretty useful, and no one falls short, so there you have it. But that being said, I am very much enjoying this ROM hack, and I'm going to enjoy it even more when we get to the World of Ruin, probably. But before that, we gotta go flying around the World of Balance and seeing what we can find. So that'll be next episode. Thanks you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time. Peace.